What's up, guys? So in this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at scene nodes and making a procedural selection edge to spline tool. Um, edge to spline is like a really useful tool. Lots of different plugin makers have like an edge to spline tool. I think might be a built-in one in Cinema 4D, like X Particles has one in their mesh tools. But the thing with these, if we just create a plane and let's go to mesh tools, do that. And I think that Rocket Lasso might also have one. I think they all pretty much work the same. So you can see that we've got an edge to spline, but this is working off of polygons. So within here, they do have some tools for you to be able to like make selections. You can do it through a shader. It's like a built-in thing right here. We can also, but like if we wanted to do like node-based procedural selections, there's also a way to kind of like get that to work. Like if I come in here, drop in a random selection, and just name it so that it shows up here. And you can't drop it in here, but we can drop it into our fields. And you can see that that's working. So if we go in and start to modify this selection, we get something like that. But what you'll notice is that this is based off of a selection of polygons. It's only like it's really doing whole polygons. That's interesting that it's doing just an edge right there. But yeah, this is based off polygon selections. If we switch this to edges, then this doesn't work. So it doesn't work off of purely just an edge selection. And this might be something that you want to do. So that's why you can see the difference here, where this is making just edge selections. This is all based off of just edges. And once you've got that selection, then you can do whatever you normally want. Since we're building this with nodes, obviously this can work as something that you can just build a spline. You can make this into a modifier, so you could just drag this onto, you have a plane, and you just drop that on there, and you get the same thing. Within this modifier, the extrusion is just built into the modifier, but you don't necessarily, I mean, obviously you can just do whatever you want with it. So let's see how to set this up. Disclaimer, I'm not like a scene nodes expert by any means. I'm still super new to this stuff. Like a lot of people, I'm just kind of like trying to wrap my head around it and see where it fits in to my workflow, if it can basically kind of add value to my workflow in certain areas. I'm seeing potential for some stuff. Definitely still a lot of places where I'm like, this could be a lot better. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff where I'm seeing that this is useful. So let's jump right in. And I think that I will do this. So we can kind of set this up as like a generator. So let's maybe do it like that. Maybe that's how most people might use it, where you just have your model and then you just drop it under this and it'll generate the splines. So the way that we do that is we can make a node spline. Let's jump in here and right click and say add input and say child, object child. So now if we just grab a plane and make that a child, then we can access that plane right here. All right, so let's go in here and maybe give this a few more width segments, maybe about right there. And let's go in here, grab a random selection, make sure we're selecting edges, and we're also going to do a geometry property get. And what we basically are getting here is the positions of the points, of all the points on the mesh. So then we're going to grab a selection to indices and switch this to edges. And so here we're basically saying what is the index of this selection and getting that. So then we're going to create a iterate collection and drop this into here. And then we're going to, so this is going to just like run this across all the edges. Decompose container, and the elements goes into here. And so this is basically the way that this data is sort of like structured. An edge is made of 2 points, and there's kind of like a point A and a point B. So this is sort of defining all the way from back to this selection, defining what is point A and what is point B for all the edges in this selection. Okay, so then we're going to then take that information and build an array of integers, and we only need 2 elements, point A and point B. Then we're going to make another iterate collection, put that in here, and come back, and we're going to basically kind of like put it all back together. Get element, and in here we want, actually I think we can just do this, we don't have to set anything. Yeah, we're going, so that's the positions, and here we're going to put this into our indices. So we've got that, and then we're going to make an append elements, and for this needs to be an array of vectors. So an array is not going to be in this first drop down. We have to go here to structure, click array. It's an array of float 64. That's not what we want. We want an array of vectors. Okay. And so this goes into here, and this goes into here. And this basically is putting everything together, like I said, between the thing that defines edges is point A, point B, the index of each one of those points, the position of each one of those points. So all of this was basically getting all that information and putting it together into an array. And then from here, basically from this, we've got all the information that we need to build a spline. So from there, we just say assemble spline. And from there, we can just output this. And nothing happens. So I think what we might, let me just see, anything? Okay, what we might need to do is name this. Maybe, no. Okay, let's see where we went wrong. Points, CA, linear, that shouldn't matter. Edges, actually. There we go. Okay, that was my mistake. So make sure you name your selection, and then in the selection to indices, make sure to call it. And when you call that, that needs to be in quotations. That's a gotcha that really freaking annoyed me for a while. So yeah, if you're referencing a selection, make sure that that's in quotations. Okay, so now we've got our curve, and yeah, that's basically it. So you can take that. You can, now that this is, you see it's green, so it's like a generator. This is totally procedural, so you can just take any mesh now and drop that in there and get a random selection of edges that are now splines. I'm not gonna just do it to a million different models. I think you probably get the point, but yep, that works like that. And of course, now that you've got that, turn those off, you can do all the normal stuff that you would do with a spline, like extrude these edges. Now, one thing to be aware of is that there's no normal information with these edges. So you can only, like if you wanted to do something like an extrusion, you can only just extrude them in like a single direction. It's not going to be based on the normal direction from the mesh that you're coming from. A better example is if I, again, put this like this torus in here. What you'll see is that all these extrusions are just going straight up. They're not like going out or anything based on the normals from the mesh. So that's something to be aware of. But yeah, I won't drag this on longer than it needs to be dragged on. That's it. It's a useful tool. Hope you guys find it useful, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.